You can't hear me at all. Why? Why can't you hear me? Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me. It says my microphone is working. You can hear me now. Oh, what the heck was that about? That's really strange. I literally just unplugged my microphone, plugged it back in, and suddenly it started working. I'm so sorry. Igla, thank you for pointing out the fact that you couldn't hear. It's been working fine these past few weeks, so I don't know why it suddenly stopped. Can you confirm, Igla and RP, that you can actually hear me now, like Jason can? Just so we know. Ah, professional. What I was saying that you didn't hear any of, apparently, was just because we've got the yeah, you can, brilliant, thanks RP. Because we've got the update and we've got the regions to do difficult terrain, we might as well slap it in. It's so quick and easy to do it now that we can just add these things in without any drama whatsoever. So for places like this, I mean, again, the player's unlikely to bother. You know, going up and down these escarpments and stuff, but they might. And if they do, then move over. Not quite that far. If they do, then brilliant. We can automatically have this set up. We don't need to worry about it once it's done. It takes a few moments. It's just going to cost them extra movement if they decide to do that. So we set up that first one, the purple one, as woods, as you probably saw, even though you couldn't hear. And we're just setting this one up, again, as difficult terrain, but as rubble and rocks. So, you know, if the party have a ranger or a druid and they might be able to move through the woods freely, they are welcome to climb up there. It's just going to cost them a bit of extra movement. As a DM, I don't have to think about it too much, which is how I like it to be. We're just going to add this bit on here for consistency. You know, if I've got my scene set up as a DM, I haven't got to think about it. It's just job done. They try to move. And of course, what we really like is the fact we've now got the drag ruler, so it will. Why is he 50 foot? Oh, he's flying. He's just walk. You know, so we've got that. But if I want to go up here, 5, 15, it's going to cost me a lot more. To be able to do that. Now, what I did for the terrain walls, if you remember, we put those in originally and things like that. So we've still got those in place so that we can block the vision and stuff appropriately. But it just means, yeah, just a bit of extra flavour, really. What we ought to do is jump to Cragmore Hideout and see if there's anything here we need to do. Now, in the other video, if you did see the video I released earlier today, I did the water. And that actually does make sense. I didn't do it in the live stream game. I just had the same scene in my other version. So let's do this again. Really nice and easy. We're just going to draw this in and we wish it wouldn't jump quite so quick. We probably need to do this all the way up. I don't want to do it where the bridge is, or otherwise it's going to give them the movement penalty when they're crossing the bridge, and that's obviously not quite what we want. Whee, jumpy. So yeah, you're welcome to cross the bridge. Sorry, you're welcome to cross the stream, absolutely. But it's going to cost you a bit of extra movement to do so. It just adds a bit of flavour, and if you remember, we're building this specifically for brand new players, so it's good for them to kind of see these things. You know, if they notice, they'll ask the question, even if they don't necessarily know the rule. They might kind of go, oh, hang on a minute, why am I going so slow? Oh yeah, difficult terrain. Let's introduce the rule of difficult terrain. Evening, Kev, hope you're all right. All right, so again, really nice and easy. If I just take that off so we can see the rest of this scene a bit better. It's actually got the lights on. The chances are they're not going to be up here, and we can always deal with that later if we want to. Anywhere else that's rough terrain, it does specifically talk about this channel here being about rough terrain and being really slippy. So let's slap one in here as well. Again, we don't need to be precise with it, at least not too precise. And if we just call this rockfall, that's fine. And again, just for that region, just add in its difficult terrain. Easy peasy. It's so quick to do. Rubble and rocks. There we go. Bob, it's done. It's just so easy. Okay, right. So I think that's enough of that. But yeah, you could get silly and define lots of different areas and things. But I think, to be perfectly honest, that's absolutely fine for this. Right. I don't need to do anything for the warehouse. Red brand hideout. Was there anything here that perhaps we could do? I'm going to say no. I don't think there is anything here that we need to do as rough terrain, really. It's all this stream bed is dry anyway. Yeah, we're not going to bother. Right, so where actually were we? We were in the Cragmore Castle, to get back to this. So first of all, while we're on that subject, I suppose, was there anywhere here that we should be doing as rough terrain? I mean, you could argue that the rubble and stuff like that, but we don't really need to worry about it, to be honest. They're not, there's ways round and things like that. They're not necessarily going to be climbing the rubble, and if they are, they're going to be asking about climbing the rubble, and I'm going to be making them make climb checks and things like that, rather than just walking over. It's not really rough terrain from that point of view. We did all of the areas except area 10, and I can't remember if we... Oh yeah, we did area 11 because of the secret door there. So we essentially got area 10 left to do. So let's just remind ourselves of what is in area 10. Bring this over. It's area 14 on there. I've just called it area 10. I did not update my number. Where actually is area 10 on the map? Oh, area 10 is actually down there. There we go, it's a fundamental mistake. Let's update that so it actually correlates with the module, or otherwise that will confuse me when I'm actually running the game instead. Alright, so area 14 it is. So let's look, area 14, this is the King's Quarters. We know that we've got, you know, most of you are probably familiar with this module. So we've got King Groll, a fierce bugbear with 45 hit points. You know, we've got his wolf Snarl, and we've got the doppelganger disguised as a female drow. So let's start chucking those individuals in. Did we already have? Did we already have a bugbear? We had a bugbear warrior. The bugbear warrior's got 33 hit points. Now again, remember that this is aimed at very low level characters. We don't necessarily want to stick in big powerful creatures. We're going to stick in a normal bugbear, if you like. In fact, actually I'm going to duplicate this bugbear. I'm going to change the name of it so it makes a bit more sense, and we call him King Groll. We need to update his hit points according to the module, and I am running this as per the module rather than tweaking it. Depends on the player base, depends who we've got in actually playing. You know, if you've got a whole party full of, you know, barbarians, you might find that these monsters get very, very squishy and die really quickly. You can always bolster them depending on your individual party. Okay, right, so it says he's got 45 hit points. It doesn't say anything else about him at all. What I do want to do is I want to update his prototype token. Whoops. And add in King Groll for that as well. And I'm going to link to his actor data because he's effectively a unique individual. So there we go. He's nice and easily done. Get rid of that token. I want to bring out King Groll. There we go. And for him, I want to have his name always displayed for the owner. So, and I want his hit points displayed as well. Resources, there it is. Always for owner. So again, for me as the DM, I don't forget what his name is because it's right there. Easy peasy. Now we need to bring in his wolf Snarl. It's just a normal wolf. We're going to duplicate this wolf. If I can type Snarl the wolf, easy peasy. And again, because it's a named thing, it's going to actually be, you know, the king is likely to reference Snarl. He's not going to say wolf attack, he's going to say Snarl attack. So let's pop that on as well, and let's make sure that we can always see his name and always see his hit points. and then we can chuck Snarl out here as well, and we can decide where Snarl's going to be, probably on one of these rugs curled up here. And the last thing was Doppelganger. Now this is slightly interesting because it's a Doppelganger that looks like a Drow, so we want the stat block for a Doppelganger. So let's first of all find that. So we're going to look in the monster manual, of course. And we want to look under D for Doppelganger and hope it's easy to find. Yes, it is. Okay, now we've got multiple versions of Doppelganger. No, Doppelgangers are Doppelgangers, which is good. So I'm going to drag Doppelganger over here. And now, what does it say in the module, apart from the fact... Yeah, so it does give us a name, Virieth. So let's make sure, let's get rid of that. Let's make sure we rename, yeah, there we go. So we put the name in, but it is a Doppelganger. Now I do want to update the token image, of course. Now because it's kind of an important character, rather than using a default one, I will probably find a better image, or rather, you know, get one created for it. But for now, let's see if we can change this portrait and find it. So we're under portraits. Are we going to be able to find? Are they still called Drow? Have they changed them? Are they Dark Elves? Are they Drow? I might not be able to find them. Do you know what? I'm not sure. Probably should have looked that up beforehand. Yeah. It might be that we can actually look in the player's handbook instead. Whoops. Journal art, portraits. Can we find one in here for Drow? Let's put the pictures on. It might be a bit easier. Let's see what we got. Oh no, that's all the creatures, isn't it? I'm not going to spend ages. If I can't find it, I'll do it later. Portraits is what we were just in. Not sure. We'll do it later. That's fine. That will stay there for now. Don't want to waste your time just watching that. Alright, so let's drag this in for now. That's going to confuse me, and I will update it because I'll look at that and go, what the heck? That's not right at all. Okay, so Snarl the Wolf has 18 hit points. Let's check that we didn't update the wolf hit points, so let's do that. 18 hit points. Actually, don't just click off of it. That's fine. So we update Snarl. You're all good to go. And talks about the Doppelganger, Virieth, messenger for the Black Spider, come to collect Gundren, Rockseeker, and the map of Wave Echo Cave from King Groll. He wants to sell the map instead, blah 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 blah. Talks about the northwest room, partially collapsed chamber, still contains a large bathtub. The unconscious dwarf near the southwest corner of the room, which will be down here, is Gundren. So let's find Gundren, and we can pop Gundren down here. And of course he's supposed to be is he unconscious, not sleeping. Not paralysed, stunned, prone. I mean, he's all of that. There he is, unconscious. There we go. So we can pop him down in that corner, which is nice and easy. Yeah, it's not difficult, is it? Right, does talk about treasure. So treasure for this is a leather sack containing 200 silver pieces, 160 electrum, 3 potions of healing. Now we should already have Spider's Web potions of healing ready to go, so we don't need to do anything there. And Gundren's map of Wave Echo Cave. So we probably ought to create that so that the players actually pick it up and carry it around with them. So let's create a, what's it going to be? Is it going to be loot? Because it's not anything else, is it? It's not really equipment. They're not going to wear it. Like a cape. Let's just call it Gundren's map. I've spelt Gundren correctly. Yes, good. Just checking. And then we'll see if we can find a decent image for it. Again, I'm not going to spend ages looking for things like you know, oh look, there's a folder called tokens. I'm not going to spend ages looking for these different things. Is Dark Elf in here? Or Drow? Direwolf, Diviner, Dragonborn, Druid, Dwarves. No, I'll have to have, like I say, I'll have to have a proper look. I will find an image for the map as well, and it's again in. I know how to find these things, but you change versions and everything else, and things are different, and you're kind of like, oh, where is it? It's not in SVG. It's not in the UI because that literally is the UI. Is it in the packs? Classes, equipment, features, origin spells, tables. It might be in equipment. No. Content. No. No, it's not in there. Again, I will find a map later. We don't want to waste loads of time you watching me faff around looking for images for stuff. No problem. I mean, it stands out that that doesn't have an image. We can sort it. Okay. Anything else we've got left to do here? Now it talks about the returning warband. So it says you can add a complication in the form of a hobgoblin warband returning home just after they're preparing to leave. Consists of 3 hobgoblins led by Targor Bloodsword, a hobgoblin with 20 hit points, and it also has 2 wolves as pets. Now if they're going to be returning, we don't want them actually on the map at the same time. Remember we talked about this border part. This is perfect for this kind of thing. We want them on standby but not necessarily doing anything. So he's got his hobgoblins. There's 3 of them, so we're going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to duplicate this one because that leader had a name. What was his name? Oh blimey, it's because I'm not looking what I'm actually typing. Targor Bloodsword. My typing's awful. And they upped his hit points to 20, which is nothing. I mean, you know, they hit quite hard, but they are quite squishy creatures. So we've got him in there under T, so we can slap him out as well. Now again, because he's a named actor, I do want to Targor Bloodsword. We'll slap that in there. I always want his name displayed. I'm not going to worry about hit points for him. And there was 2 wolves, just normal wolves. So let's slap them out. So they are just there in the wings, ready to go as soon as anything happens. Those goblinoids love wolf pets. Yes, it does. Yeah, they do. For whatever reason, goblins and wolves go together. It used to be a big thing in D&D of warg riders, which were kind of like halfway between wolves and dire wolves. You've got your wargs, and goblins used to ride on them all the time. It's just become a thing. You see it in Lord of the Rings, of course, where you've got the orcs and goblins, and they spend a lot of time hanging around with, you know, big wolves, and they ride them and stuff like that. I don't know why they go together. It doesn't make sense in many ways, because why would the wolves hang out with the goblins like that? They're certainly not domesticated. Not, you know, they're not actually dogs, but it's a thing, and it's fine. It's, you know, it is what it is. All right. We did all the lights and everything, didn't we? We did all the lights, yep, where we needed them. We did any sounds we wanted to do, some basic stuff for fires and things. We put out all the monsters. We've done all of our treasures. I think this is done. I do want to, obviously, no, maybe not obviously, what I do want to do is just turn that grid opacity right the way down so we can't see the grid. Okay, so the grid is still there, we just can't see it. Lovely jubbly. What is DFD? I must have been playing with something. Alright. So that's kind of it for this, because it's pretty much a, well, it's not a dungeon crawl, it's a castle crawl, with some hack and slash to try and rescue Gundren and his map, with a little bit of RPing at the end possibly, or possibly with Yegg as well. But this kind of scene is done, right? I don't think we need to mess around with anything. Now what I didn't do is decide what we're going to do next of the maps. we can do what we still going to need to do. I've got lots of ones we don't need in here. DFD, Dog Fashion Disco, great band. That's actually a band. Never heard of them. We could do Old Owl Well, that's going to be really quick. Thunder Tree is going to take a little bit longer. I think we do Old Owl Well. We've got things in here. Sorry that my folders are really small. We've got all the web files. Make those bigger. We've got those in here. Now, again, sorry it's so small up in the corner. We've got the night version with a grid. We've got the night version without a grid. We've got the day version without a grid, and the one I'm going to get rid of the gridded version straight away because I don't like having my grids on the map. Oh, Jason, I'm going to have to look them up after this now. So I'm going to get rid of the night one as well because we've got lighting within there. I'm also just going to, and I know you can't see that very well, I'm just going to shorten that name just to Old Owl Well. Easy peasy. Right, get rid of that, back to here. Let's create our new scene then. Not a journal, you muppet. So in here, our new scene, Old Owl Well. There we go, easy peasy. We're not going to show it in the navigation. They know that they're going to Old Owl Well, so I don't mind them seeing that that's the name of it. Select our background image, which of course we've just done. We don't want it here, we want we do want modules. I want Phandelver, my packs and my scenes, and of course I then want to find them. I don't want all my pictures of those dudes. I need to jump to my folder, not Cragmore Castle. My screen's doing a couple of weird things. You can't see that, but it did. Old Owl Well, where have you gone? You'll be under O. Just terrible. All right, let's bring that in. Easy peasy. Select file. Let's just save changes and bring it in and flip over to it to start with. There we go. And this is a very classic, pretty much replica from the original module. Now, what we always need to do, of course, is make sure that our grid is correct. You know I like to make mine red, so it's much easier to see. I can check the sizing and everything else, and straight away I'm thinking, blimey, that's not right. So we can change the dimensions of it, wrong way round. That's, as far as I'm concerned, a much better size grid. Okay, so that is 10 foot across that gap there, rather than being like 20 foot across, which seems a bit extreme. We do, of course, need to check our lighting. Do we want to use token vision? Do we want to use fog exploration? Do we want global illumination? Now, for a scene like this, you might say, I'm not going to bother with fog exploration. It's just not that big, right? But we're going to use vision instead. So I'm going to turn that off for this one. And ambience, I'm not putting any weather effects on or anything for this particular one either. Of course, we've got some walls. And we've also got this tent. Now, what I did note, and I didn't actually show you, is there's a folder with overlay in here. So let's look at the gridless ones. So we've got some paving overlay bits. We've got the interior of the tent ones as well. So first of all, let's get rid of all of the night ones out of here because I'm not going to use them. There we go. And these two are lit ones. We don't need lights because we've got them in Foundry, and I prefer to use those. And then we've got these two, tent interior, tent interior. What is the difference between them? Nothing. Oh, JPEGs versus WebP, that's it. Well, let's get rid of the JPEGs. So we've got tiles and we've got the inside of the tent. So that's all we've got there, which is fine. And we can use that in a moment. Let's slap some of these walls down. It's not going to be a lot of them, of course. Now, if we were using wall height, and in fact this is the map I used when we did the video on Ripper's wall height mod, this would be a really good example of where you can make some of these walls a bit shorter so the players can look over the top of them. But in this instance we don't need to do that, or rather we're not using mods at this point. Anybody want to take a guess what the first mod I'm going to add to this particular pack? I might have mentioned it last week, I'm not sure if I did or not. What is the very first mod that I think, personally, every game should have regardless? No, Igla. Although max active tile triggers, you're right from a point of view as I use it a lot because I absolutely love mats. But that's not what I'm thinking of. Absolutely, you can get away without it, although it's very useful. Anybody else want to have a go? Igla's been brave and gone first and got it wrong. You're going to kick yourself because it's probably so obvious that you just haven't thought of it. Dice so nice. Second attempt, yeah, absolutely. And I've said it a few times, I don't understand why basically Dice so nice isn't core. Why have we got a dice rolling system, whether it's D&D, whether it's Shadowrun, Call of Cthulhu, whatever it might be? All of the games you play through Foundry are based on rolling dice. Yes, you've got the dice rolling function, but no graphics for dice. It's not core Foundry, and I've always found that really strange. But hey ho, who am I? Who am I to question such or whatever? I mean, there might be really good reason behind the decision. I just haven't been able to think of it. Okie dokie, right, we slapped those in. Now, I want to know what that other tile is supposed to be. This one here, because it just says empty. So I think that's for if you want to completely remove the tent and not have the tent in place, you slap that tile over that. We don't want to do that. I am going to go to my... You were going to say Matt as well, Jason. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love... for those watching the video who don't know what we're talking about when we're saying Matt, it's Monk's active tile triggers that I use for lots of buttons, pit traps and all sorts of things. Now we are slowly moving towards regions being able to cover a lot of those bits, but nothing has the depth of functionality and the ease of use of mats. It's just, yeah, it is absolutely one of my favourites for just automating certain things. You can't live without Dice So Nice. Oh, you can live without Dice So Nice, but not without mats. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You and Jason, you don't use Dice So Nice. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not telling anybody that they are right or wrong for the mods that they choose. I wouldn't be as arrogant as to suggest that my way is the only way of doing things at all. But I personally think that Dice So Nice is kind of, yeah, I think it's critical. But yeah, you're allowed to have your opinion. I'm just a muppet on the internet. It's not just on the internet, I'm just a muppet. Right, let's go to our tile browser and then let's go find that one there before I accidentally insult my audience any further. Old Alwell, where was it? Overlay, that was the one. And we wanted gridless. I'm going to bring in this one here. And we can slap that tile straight out there. Okay, so Igla and Jason, you both don't. No, you've got no reason behind it, you just don't use it, Igla. Of course, fine. Fine. Now I'm starting to think I'm in the minority. Maybe I'm the problem, right? It wouldn't be the first time. Okay. Now, what we need to do about this tent is the entrance to this tent is down the bottom here. Okay, so you can see it here a bit clearer. We ought to put some walls for this tent, shouldn't we? To stop them from we're going to make these terrain walls, I think. We're going to do terrain walls for this, so that they can actually see the whole tent. They just can't see what's the other side of the tent. That makes a lot more sense, I think. Let's just double check with terrain walls. Terrain walls restrict movement, which is good, and the light and sound is all limited. So we want to make sure that we do restrict movement for that. We don't want them walking into the tent. However, I have inadvertently... Oh, yeah. I need to be a little bit careful with this, because if I leave... Get out of it. if I leave an entryway for there, from the back you will be able to see all the way through the tent. I don't think that's such a big problem. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Let's go back to our tile and pull this one over. Now again, this is one of those ones where we need the tile. It's installed, just not enabled, Jason. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you know, and the amount of mods I've got installed that I don't actually use in my games is quite crazy. I'd like to use the excuse it's because I've used them for doing a video and then I don't uninstall them, but that's not true. Okay, so what we really want is this tile, when they go in here, we want them to be able to see inside the tent. When they're not in it, we want them to be able to see the roof of the tent, right? So how do we do that? We can double right click on the tile itself, and there's a few things we can do. So we can scale it, we can make it somewhat invisible. Obviously we can move the position, but what we can do is we can do it as an overhead tile. So for those of you who don't know how to do this, this overhead tile, you can have it always visible, or otherwise the entire tile fades. You can use radial or vision. I'm going to have the entire tile fades for this. So if I click that and update this, let's show you what happens. Just for, because again, this is aimed at people who, you know, using Foundry for perhaps the first time or are looking for hints and tips and things like that. So let's make sure we at least give you some ideas. Let's use this individual. Okay, so by selecting them, they already can see inside the tent. That's not what I wanted at all. That's not what I wanted. I'm just making sure I've got things like vision enabled. Yep, that's all good. I haven't got fog of war enabled. Let's move you over to one side. So you should not be able to see inside that tent. Ah, is it giving me... Of course, it's giving me the... because I've used the terrain walls, it's allowing me to see through the tent, and it's allowing me to see the inside of the tent. So I've done this the wrong way round, and that was my choice of using terrain walls instead. Yeah, this is not the way I want to do this, is it? And now I'm going to think on the fly and make a muppet of myself. Sometimes you just go, oh yeah, hang on a minute. So if we turned those walls into normal walls, right, then you wouldn't be able to see past those walls at all, okay? Because obviously the walls would block the vision. So all you'd be able to see is the edge of the tent. When you went inside, that tile would fade away. Or sorry, oh, I've got the tile the wrong way round, haven't I? That's why. Because it's the tile will fade to not show it. Oh, I'm a muppet. Okay. Yes, I'm backwards. Not for the first time. If I hide the tile, right, now the character can see all of the tent as intended. They can walk all the way around it, but they can't see what's inside. Only when they go inside would I, as the DM, reveal the inside of the tent. So in an ideal world, to do what I was thinking of doing the other way round, you would have the tile being the top of the tent, the roof of the tent, with the map having the inside. Does that make sense? So this part here on the right would be baked into the map. This roof would be as a roof that you would place as a tile over the top. That way, when your players move into the tile area, it would fade out the tile over the top, which is the roof, which would enable them to see inside. Because the way this map is done, it's not made back to front. It makes it sound like I'm criticising the map. But because the map's made the other way round, that won't work. So let me slap that back over there. The way I'm going to do this then is to lock that, and I'm going to hide it. If they go into the tent, can't get out the tent, get out the tent. If they go into the tent, then I can just reveal that tile, easy peasy. It's not a big issue. Now this is kind of, because people are talking about Monk's active tile triggers, that's the kind of thing where you can put a trigger down by the door there, and as they get to the entrance it would automatically hide that tile, it automatically, reveal that tile for you. That's the thing I kind of like about maps, is then I don't have to manually do it. They can step on something and then they can see inside. Easy peasy. Right. Oh dear. Enough of that. Let's get rid of you. Right. Talking of which, no difficult terrain here that I really feel I need to worry about. So let's jump back to the module and find the right place in the module. And again, this is the module from D&D Beyond, which is why I'm obviously in here. We can find Old Owl Well in here, and we can read all of that gubbins. We don't need to read everything in here because I know it quite well. I just need to check things like 12 zombies lurk inside the crumble shell of the old watchtower and can't be seen from outside. So first of all, we need 12 zombies, right? Let's get zombies. Close that, open, close the players, give me my monsters. We haven't used zombies yet. Nice and easy, we know how to do this. Let's just go to the monster manual. We're going to come, are they going, zombies going to be under Z for zombie? Yes they are, wasn't sure if they're going to be under U for undead. Still getting used to it. And I suspect we've got, so yeah, we've got normal zombies, ogre zombies, beholder zombies. We just want normal ones. Let's just chuck those in there, so that in our list. It said 12 of them. That's a lot of zombies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm clustering them a bit further towards the back rather than being near the entrance, just to make it a bit more realistic. They're kind of huddled back there. Done. Easy. Really, really fast to do these in version 13, you know, with the monster manual available and stuff. So we don't need to worry about that. If battle erupts, Hammond Cost, the evil mage, emerges from his tent and asks, "What's the meaning of this?" So we need an evil mage called Cost. Now obviously, just by hovering on it, we've got the stats and stuff for evil mage. So we're going to find evil mage in the monster manual. Now, we had this before. Was it humans? No. Oh no, here we go again. I've learned that animals are under animal. We looked for a bat for ages and I couldn't find it. They're all under there. So, what am I after? I'm after mage, or I'm after evil mage. It's not going to be under E for evil mage. That doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be under, is it going to be under mage? I forgot my alphabet again. It happens a lot. No pressure. No, mages. There we go. So it is under mages. Right. Good stuff. Mages, right column. Thank you, sir. Right, so mage appearance, archmage, mage apprentice. Right, so this is where again we need to be slightly careful about challenge ratings. So the module is using a challenge rating 1. So what challenge rating is this dude? It's CR2, which we might decide is a bit much. That's CR6, that's definitely too much, and an archmage CR. So we are kind of stuck with using this CR2 version. That's alright, because we can obviously, you know, change it around. Drop him into, I mean, strictly speaking, should he be in monsters? Probably not. Should be in NPCs, but you know, that's the way we go. Evil mage is a setting stat block, so it isn't there. No, but we've got mage, and then we can update that. So yeah, you're right from that point of view. So just a little right click on the module version, and we've got this stat block here. So we can downgrade the one that we've got slightly to not necessarily match it perfectly, because I don't know, sometimes in the module they make them really weird, and they go, oh yes, well they've got this spell and this spell and this spell, and you kind of go, why the hell have they got those? Absolute nonsense. So straight away, this thing has got a huge amount of hit points. So let's go through and change this up for us. So the one in the module has got 22. So that's a bit better. When it comes to armor class, it's got an armor class of 12. How is it getting that armor class of 12? It's getting it purely from Dex. So this has got equipped armor on. Um, is that because of... Oh, it's automatically giving them... It's automatically saying they've got mage armor, I think. Is that what you're doing? Because, you know, that's a castable... yes, so it's automatically saying a temporary effects. It's giving them mage armor straight away. Okay, that's fine. Because, I mean, I've mentioned this before. Any mage who has mage armor, you wake up in the morning, you cast mage armor, right? That's the very first thing you do before you even have your morning whiz. You'd be an idiot not to. It doesn't matter if you're spending the day in the library. Why not? It costs you nothing. Alright, so we're okay with that. Hit points are down a bit, which is fine. I don't really worry about the stats. We've got the same dex. We've got intelligence. They want him to have intelligence 17. Okay, doesn't actually make any difference from a calculations point of view. That's all good. We can do that. Easy peasy. Now what we do want to do is have a little look at the spell list that they've given him. Now this is something that I'm not a huge fan of with the way that they do this. I know it's an NPC, therefore we use the NPC. Isn't that the same? But yeah, do you know what, Igla? It probably is exactly the same stat block as the Red Brand Bandit Mage. You're probably right, it is. Yeah. Just Evil Mage. There's an Evil Mage and here's another Evil Mage. But we can switch things up a little bit to make it a bit more interesting, I think. Right, we've only got a few spells here. They've given Hold Person and Misty Step to our Mage. Our Mage doesn't have those here. Misty Step is really cool. Why would you not use it just because you're, a monster, effectively? So let's have a quick look. We have a look at cantrips. We want light, because again, really, really useful that you would have that. We're going to give you light. Mage Hand we've already got. It puts this as additional spells, which I always find a bit weird because I want them broken down by spell level. I don't know, it's just, I don't know, is that just me being a player who wants it like that? But anyway. Right, so we want Hold Person. That's one of the things that we do want because it's such a fun spell. We know that's not a fight winner for the monster when there's a whole party, but it does make them think. Misty Step, of course, that just gives you the ability to prolong the combat, get your wizard out of immediate bashing range of the barbarian or the fighters and things like that, so they can actually then cast another spell. It's a really, really good one for them to have. They've got Charm Person and Magic Missile. What have we got? We've got Ice Knife. We haven't got Magic Missile. You see, again, most NPC mages, Magic Missile, it just gives them a chance to actually do something. So even if you don't use it, let's give it to them anyway. And of course, these additional spells have come from this spell casting thing. This spell casting feature, which gives them Mage Hand and Prestidigitation. It gives them Disguise Self, Ice Knife, etc. So you can just kind of like, I'm going to get rid of that and I'm going to manually add my spells, the ones I want. Do you know what? This is not neat and tidy. I don't care. I'm the DM. I'm the only one who's going to look at it. That will do for me. Thank you very much. Copy paste. Yeah, copy paste and change the image. You're absolutely right. Yeah, could have just duplicated him and gone with it. But I like to make sure they're a little bit different. If everybody casts exactly the same spells, like I just said about Magic Missile, they would all have it. They would all have Mage Armor. That doesn't mean you're going to use it every single time, but it's good to have them. Alright, so our Mage Apprentice, he's called. He's not called Mage Apprentice. What was his actual name in the module? They called him Hammond Cost. So let's rename you Hammond Cost. Let's make sure that we look at the prototype token and update that as well. I'm always going to display his name and I'm going to display his hit points so I can remember who the hell he is and I can see how badly bashed around he's got. And of course he's now moved. There he is. So we can slap him out here. And there we go, we can see that yes, he's already got Mage Armor cast, so I don't need to do that. Let's pop him inside the tent. Now again, they're going to be able to see him if I don't hide him, so we're going to do that. Now, the module kind of says like, oh yeah, you know, if they start a fight with the zombies, then he comes out of his tent. Like seriously, the party are going to ignore the tent and go and explore the ruined tower first? Hasn't happened to me yet. It's just I'm not sure that's going to be a thing, but there we go. Right, so he's done. Nice and easy. Yes, you're right, Igla. Copy paste would have been quicker, but there we go. All right, so what else do we have here? Any character attempts to talk to him, calling out a greeting, etc. He temporarily calls off his zombies, etc. So it's all kind of role playing here, and a bit of a conversation with him. And this is kind of done. Do we need any lighting in here? Probably not. Let's just show that tile. There's not any specific lanterns in there. Hammond has the light spell, so we'll probably rely on that instead. We don't need any particular sound effects or anything like that. We've done walls, we've got no difficult terrain. This is kind of done. There is some treasure though. So again, once again, just quickly looking at the module. Treasure. Yeah, cot, chair, writing desk, chest of clothes. Money, 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 money. Potion of healing we've already done. Scroll of darkness. I don't think we've got scroll of darkness. Nope. Revivify and silence. So let's find that spell. Darkness. Second level. Hooray! I love it when I get these right. It's not often. And I know I just went to drag dark vision. Okay, so again, drag the item over here, then we can right click, select create scroll. We've got the scroll, so now we can delete the spell out here. We don't need the spell in here. We've got the scroll, darkness, at the bottom. Pop it in there, in the right thing here. Alright, okay, so that's ready to hand out should the players defeat him and ransack his thing. So that is a scroll of darkness in a bone tube, a tiny jeweled box, worth 25 gold. Have we got something similar to that? We've got our chalice and stuff like that. Let's quickly create that loot item. Was it a tiny, not a Tony, a tiny jeweled box? It's worth 25 gold, not 250. Let's see if we can find, oh, we're back to trying to find the images and wherever they are. I think in icons, containers, boxes. Can we find a little jeweled one here? Again, not going to waste ages looking for one. Kitchenware, chest, no. Miniature chest for it. One that looks ornate. Not really. Tools, sundries, survival scrolls, miscellaneous, whole bunch of keys. Okay, stuff it. I'll do it later. Not a problem. At least we've got an item in there. So like before, we've got Gundren's map, and now we've got the tiny jeweled box. Make sure that's in the right folder. Yes, it is. Good to go. Now, it also contains a ring of protection, which is pretty darn awesome. So we do want to find a ring of protection. So once again, let's delve back into. It just makes it so much easier having the handbooks built into Foundry. You know, if no other reason, this is a really good idea to move over to the 2024 rules, just so that we've got this. Right, what do I want? Come on, brain, equipment. I don't want equipment, do I? I want magic items. Oh, I'm in magic items, am I? I was too busy talking and not paying attention to what I was doing. Treasure, art objects, don't want that. Firearms, staffs, rings. Come on, Mr. Golem, get your brain back where it should be. Siege weapons, instruments, hazards, equipment. That might be what it is. Rings, there we go. We get there eventually, right? Ring of Protection. There we go. So Ring of Protection, we can slap that in there. Now I just want to check that Ring of Protection is going to give us a +1 armor class bonus as I expected. I do like to know what my players are going to get before they accidentally get their hands on them. Apologies for just flashing around the desktop and things there inadvertently. Okie dokie. It does like to jump around a lot, my screens, so sorry about that. Right, Tony Jewel Box, Ring of Protection, we've got that. Experience points. This scene is done. So really quick, even though we've not done an awful lot, we've not needed to for this. What I do want to do, Old Owl Well, is turn that grid off again. I'm happy with where that grid is and everything else. This is ready to go. Nice. So that brings us to our next one, of course, which we are going to do. Let's come out of Old Owl Well. So we have got Thunder Tree. We don't want to do Wave Echo Cave yet. We could do, let's do Wyvern Tor. So we're going to do the same as before, is we're just going to have a quick look in these, the Web P ones. We've got the different versions of the map, and of course you do not have to use the same, you don't follow what I'm doing. I get rid of the night ones because we've got lights in here. I'll get rid of the grid ones. What am I left with? Gridless, Wyvern Tor, gridless. Oh, again, so what's the difference? Oh, empty and gridless. What's the difference? Empty, gridless. Oh, is it these little fireplace and things? Oh, okay. That's it. That's the difference. So it's nice to know what the difference is going to be before we embark on doing this. And we can create our next scene for this. Let me just find the right place in the module as well, so I know what I'm doing. Wyvern Tor, there we go. And it's mostly so that I can spell correctly. So Tor with 1 R. Brilliant. So there we go. Turn that off. Again, players know about Wyvern Tor. They go there only if they've already heard about Wyvern Tor, so we don't need to worry about the names of it in that kind of way. Phandelver into our packs, into our scenes. We want to upload. We don't want in Old Owl Well. We want in Wyvern Tor, and I didn't rename the map, did I? But I can do it right here. Or not. Fine, whatever. So we can create that scene straight away. We can go into our grid, we can make it red, just like we did before. Really quick and easy to do this stuff. It doesn't take any time and stress. Token vision for this, fog exploration, because it's a cave, I am going to leave that on, and I want global illumination and no ambiance. Brilliant. Jump over to Wyvern Tor. Here we go. So this is the cave that obviously the creatures are in. And this is the path is down here, and they make their way up here to the cave. In theory, depending what happens, my last party that did this didn't get as far as this big rock and were driven back by the gribblies that reside here. Now again, for scale, 5, 10, 15, 20, that's a heck of a big size entrance. We're going to change that. We're going to configure that and change that to 200. Keeps disappearing behind there. There we go. That's a slightly more reasonable size, I think, for that. I might just move the grid to make that entrance a bit more usable. I know what I mean. You might know what I mean. So if you didn't know, remembering if you haven't done this before, if we go into here and we go to grid type, we can click on the grid configuration tool, and this enables us to move the grid around, to make it bigger, make it smaller, and things like that. So just using the arrow keys, I can readjust this grid if I want to fit it slightly better. Now, because this map doesn't have lots of lots of building walls and things, everything is kind of all over the place. We don't have to align it to walls, so we can do things like align it for entrance ways and things like that. That just makes it a little bit easier for tokens moving around the map without it getting a bit crazy there. Hiya, Brian. Been tremendously helpful for me in Foundry. Yes, absolutely. That's why we do it, buddy. We do it for you, not only you, but we do it for you and all the people like you. And it's good fun. You know, I'm really enjoying doing live streams. I know it's kind of ridiculous, but it's you know, for most of the people sitting there in the chat right now, you're not learning anything here. But you're just here. You're just here to hang out, and that is amazing. I think that's so much. It's just so cool. This is for the Wyvern tour. We obviously need to put in the fact that we've got some cave walls around here. Okay, so we want to block off so that they can't see the cave unless they're actually towards the cave entrance. We don't want them seeing the insides of the cave here. Now I'm going quite wide here, and I've explained this before, is when the players are on the inside here, you don't want them not being able to see the walls properly, so I kind of do it like that, so they've got a bit of space so they can see the bit of the geography. Now for things like this, I want to come up the middle ish. So if they're on the outside, they can see the cliff. If they're on the inside, they can see the edge of the cave. But it's really important, sliding all over the place, that they're not just looking through that wall, of course. And I want to continue this down this way. There we go, just continue that down there so that they're not looking that side. And I can drag that outside of the map if I want to. Alright, so that was nice and easy. It's always weird when scenes are named with German words. Tor, right, Tor means gate in German, and I expect a gate or portal. Now the reason why, it's a good point, Nicola. The reason why, because we have Tors in the UK as well, and I can never remember if it's double R or not. For us, a Tor is, and somebody's going to correct me either in this or in the comments, but a Tor is like a knob of ground, so it's not like a hill, but you get a Tor as you might have a hill that's got like a rocky outcrop, and that can be called a Tor. So it's a geological feature in the landscape that's associated with hills and mountains and things like that. So I think that's probably comes from the English version of the word Tor, which we've nicked from the original German language and then corrupted for our own purposes, because that's what the English language is. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. So, it's yeah. I mean, for the English speakers, you'll know this about our languages. Most of our words come from German or French, or of course from the Nordic languages, from the Viking invasions and the Norsemen and everything else, Icelandic nations and things like that invading England over time, and of course from the Saxons, bring in those Germanic origin languages. We've got the Normans from the Franks, from what is now France. That's why English is so bloody hard to learn, and it's why I'm always so impressed with anybody who can speak English as a second or third or fourth language. It's crazy sauce, crazy sauce. Right, this map here. Now we've got those in, we need to do some lights around the fire in case they've got it lit, and some crackling fire sounds. Was there an overlay for this? I think there was an overlay folder, wasn't there? Come out too far, like a Muppet as usual. Overlay, there is an overlay folder. We want the gridless version. What is that overlay? You can't see it, it's far too small. Oh, it's just fire pit. So they've got this in here as a lit fireplace. So we can decide whether we want to do that. English is very easy to learn. Maybe I think it's so confusing grammar wise, and especially everyday English. I mean, you've had to do it, mate. I haven't. Well, I mean, I guess I have from birth, but yeah, I've tried learning German. I'm rubbish, and I think German's much easier to learn than English. But hey, as I can't do it, perhaps I'm not the right person to suggest anything. I'm not going to use that tile because I'm literally going to use lights within here to do that. So let's slap out that light straight away. Slap it in the middle there. We're going to spread that out. We're going to say a 10-foot bright, 20-foot dim. That's plenty for this. You can see that area that this is going to light up. We can choose our colour for our light. Now we're using flames and things, so let's go with a yellowy light for this. Now, of course, it depends what you're burning from a point of view of the colour of the flames, so you know, just how you want. We definitely want a flicker, so we want that torch one, so we get some flickering of this, and we can put up that intensity if we want to, a little bit. It seems to jump. I think that's fairly good, but it's not central on that fireplace. You can see that's wonky. So I've said this before, if you hold and click, you can drag this around, but you can see it snapping to the grid. If you hold down shift, you can move it and place it exactly where you want to. So we can do that, and then we get our glowing fire pit. Now, of course, what you can do is you can overlay that with different lights, with different colors and intensities to build up a more realistic picture if you want to do that. I'm not going to. I'm going to be happy with that. My players won't really care. If it's magical effects and things, then yeah, I like to layer them up a bit better than this. Okie dokie, right. We're over time, so I'm going to have to call this one. In this one, we have added some, we've done loads today actually, much more than we've done in the other ones. We've added the monsters to Cragmore Castle. We've added the difficult terrain, that's what it's called. The difficult English, the difficult to speak. We've added the difficult terrain to a couple of the earlier maps. We have built Old Owl Well because it's really simple and straightforward, and we've already most of the way through Wyvern Tor as well. So in the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to add quite a lot of difficult terrain on this, but we've seen how we do that. It's so easy now with the regions. We just create a region, we do that. We're going to create a region to make this darker inside the cave if the fire's not alight, of course. And then we need to slap our monsters on, and this will be done as well. Really, really quick and fast to slap these things together now. We're kind of the maps are the hardest bit, but we're using maps from somebody else, so we haven't got to make those. We're just slapping it all together so we can build stuff quickly. Right, I am going to call it here because I need to go off and do other things, or otherwise I will be here until midnight, and well, and the wife will get cross at some point. I'm sure she will. Thank you for watching. Nice to see you. They're all the regulars. I really appreciate you coming. Igla, Jason. You know, it's amazing, guys. Really cool hanging out with you. Thanks, Chris, for the bonus times today. yeah, always a little bit over. I will. Oh no! Before you run off, I am away next week. I will schedule the next one, but it will not be next Sunday. It will be the week after that. So I've got to skip a week. I'm going on holiday. Weirdly enough, talking of tours, I am going up to the Yorkshire Dales where there are loads of tours. I'll see if I can remember to take a picture of one for you. Let's go. That's a tour. That's what it is. When is the next Curse of Strahd update? Absolutely. Once I have finished doing that chapter, which goes all over the bloody place, it's a bit of pain in the arse, and I need to actually finish it because I need to finish that, and then I've only got one more act to do, and I really, really want to finish those, and then we'll begin my task of converting it to version 13. So I'll be taking that. Now Monk's Active Tile Triggers is done, which Curse of Strahd relies on quite a lot. I'll be converting the whole lot to a version 13 version, and obviously going through everything again to make sure it all works with Monk's Active Tile Triggers, but also putting in some of the new nifty stuff we've got. I'm going to swap all the monsters out for the 2024 versions. I'm going to be putting in the terrain and things like that. So it will come, Jason. If you're hanging for it, I will pull my finger out my backside and try and get that updated as soon as I can for you. But yeah, I'll make sure I would do a video to let you know where we're up to. Thank you very much, guys. You take care, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time, although there will be a video next week before I go away. All right, take care.